You say I'm one for the trouble, two for the time. One for the trouble, two for the time. One for the trouble, two for the time.
Here we go again, right now, let's go. Me and you, toe to toe. So we can rock, we can roll. Here we go again, right now, let's go. Me and you, toe to toe. So we can rock, we can roll.
I have spent so much time immersing myself in copes rather than trying to face reality because I don't really see any sort of positive future for my reality, any sort of future that would be worth fighting for or striving towards. I mean, of course, you all see the state of the world, but besides that, just me personally, just all the issues that I've had mentally, just all the shit that I'm still trying to unpack decades after it happened, all of the terrible habits I'm trying to undo. I just have been spending so much time trying not to live in reality, doing anything possible to not have to think about where I'm actually at. If I don't have to work on a certain day, then I just lay there. I either lay there or I immediately get to a cope. And some of these are healthier than others. The healthiest among them would definitely be working out, but I've had a lot of inconsistency with that recently because not just the depression, but also the fact that I had accumulated some injuries that I didn't let heal properly because of my eagerness to get back to it, because I was using that as a way to distract from the less healthy copes, some of which I'm back to engaging in now. Since I've found a decent ground as far as my physical health goes, at least I feel like it. I'm probably fucked up, but I think I should be good enough to go back to lifting pretty soon. So that should help me straighten things out. But yeah, besides lifting weights, I mean, again, I think I should probably just talk about the cope that came straight after that, all the stress eating bullshit, all the fucking donuts and pizza and Starburst jelly beans. It gets to a point where you don't even think about what you're eating. It just stops even tasting good. You're just shoveling shit in your mouth mindlessly. You're just putting all this stuff in your mouth for no pause. No diddy. You're just putting all this shit in your mouth for no reason. It's like, why are you even doing this anymore? But it's just, dopamine receptors, they go off. This food has been carefully engineered to get that exact kind of reaction. Another one that's not really been the healthiest is just buying shit. Now, I will say that not everything I buy is just completely fucking useless. I buy shit that I actually like. I'm a collector. I collect action figures and different type of merchandise for things I like. Of course, Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball in and of itself has been a cult my entire life since I was like 9 years old. Has helped me get through life and motivated me, but I think I'm going to address that later. I think my entire history with Dragon Ball is just going to be about an hour long plus video that I'm going to get to, but that aside for now, I collect a lot of merchandise of shows and things I like, not even just to spend money, but at the same time, just so I can walk home, or not walk home. I work fucking 30 minutes away. Why would I say that dumbass shit? So when I drive home and I get to my room, I just look around and see the shit that's inspired me in my life, comforted me in my life, made me laugh, made life seem not so bad because I haven't had to actually think about it because I've been absorbed in a story that's being told. And every once in a while, it'll be so damn good that I'll actually try to apply some shit like Dragon Ball. That is just peak motivation for working out. But sometimes I want to watch some more relaxed, laid back shit. Like I might watch Yuru Cam. That's a cozy one. Yudu Yuri. That's another comfy one. Lesser known one that I really like and I've watched multiple times over is Comic Girls. If you're an artist, you definitely got to watch that one, man. You definitely got to watch that one. Um, it's just so relatable, especially even the main character. Like even though they paint her in like this cutesy light, like all the insecurities that she had as far as a fuck ton. God damn, I gotta fix that shit. But all the insecurities that she had with her art and just seeing everybody around her outdo her constantly. If you're an artist, then like you'll relate to her. But yeah, just anime in general. Uh, yeah, but with the merchandise and the figure collecting, the big thing that kind of turns it unhealthy is that it starts to be less about a display or maybe a stop motion animation or a photo set that I want to do, and more about the hobby itself and just keeping up with whatever these third party companies are releasing, especially fuck you, Bandai, for that bullshit you pulled on Black Hole Toys. I know nobody listening knows what I'm talking about, but on the off chance one person does, I know you're pissed off right with me. Fucking goddamn Bandai. But yeah, I'll just be keeping up with the releases and things that are going on and pre-orders and scrolling through for certain figures that I missed to see. And it's just the hobby becomes more about acquiring rather than actually enjoying what you've got on your shelf. And I've got over these last 5 years, well, 5 years, it's been longer than that now. Well, I guess more so I've been collecting over the past 5 years because I lived with my aunt in apartments for the first 2 years. I lived with her, and it's been about a total of 7. We've been living in this house for around 5, and I've actually had space of my own. I've been in the basement. Uh, but yeah, with all the space that I've used, I've accumulated a good amount of stuff, man. Like Dragon Ball related, just other anime. I got like a pack of K-On figures, and that was nice. I recently got in a Ilulu from Dragon made like a scale figure. I don't collect that many scales, but that one was just beautiful, and I love Ilulu. She's my favorite Dragon Maid character. Fucking big ass titties, god damn. They captured them pretty well on that figure too, man. Fucking jugs, man. Holy shit. That's my biggest weakness right there. But yeah, it's just certain times it just starts to become more about the acquisition rather than enjoying what you got there. So I'd say anybody else with that hobby, it just makes cleaning very frequently. First off, you just want your collection to look nice, but besides that, when you're cleaning stuff off, you're like up close with it, hands on. You might pick up a figure you haven't picked up in like a fucking year or more and just start posing it around if it's articulated, or just appreciate the sculpt and paint if it's a scale. So yeah, I've definitely got to do that soon. Um, But yeah, just reading manga. I actually collected a good bit of manga because of the first position that I had at this job. I couldn't have any electronics, but like people were reading, and at first I was just getting manga from the library, but eventually I just fucking wanted my own. So I got, obviously the first acquisition I needed was that full Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I don't really fuck with Super like that. The only Super manga that I'm gonna buy is the Moral Arc, because that was actually really good. But besides that, I got a Bleach, Chainsaw Man, most of Berserk. Got some other shit coming in. But yeah, I haven't engaged in that or video games as much. And with games, I mostly like fighting games. I play a fuck ton of Dragon Ball games, as you're seeing on the screen right now, as you see on the screen, damn near every fucking video, if not every video at this point. I don't know if I'm gonna decide to switch it up, but yeah, I mean, games. I just haven't engaged in them as much because of how my schedule has been recently. And this is probably the most peculiar cope that I've ever had. And it's not even really a cope because, like, with a cope, it's something that you kind of enjoy. This has been just more of an outright distraction. I've just been working like fucking crazy. As I'm filming this, I'm currently covering somebody for a break in one of the few posts that I could actually record a video from, at work. Because usually I'm having to listen to the walkie-talkie and the radio, and that would be a disaster for a goddamn video. Of course, this mic is already shitty. I can't have all this fucking background noise going off. Yeah, it just been working a fuck ton, man, and it's not even like I'm doing something good with it, like a fuck ton of save. I've just been engaging more in copes, which is just the dumbest shit to do because, like, this is a good opportunity to be able to, put some stuff together. But it's like when I get to that point, in that thought process, it's just like, put what together? Do what? Like, what the fuck are you actually going to accomplish? But then again, what do I accomplish with engaging in fucking purchases of copes and cope material for when I literally don't even have the time to engage in this shit? Like, it's crazy. It's so fucking weird. Yeah, there isn't even really a grand point to it. It's just something that's on my mind. I've been thinking about just all the different shit I try to do. Oh yeah, and obviously this is just a dude thing in general, but you know, choking one out every now and then. I've been getting a little better with reducing the amount of time because sometimes, man, I be on fucking them goddamn eyesight. I be scrolling that bitch for hours, bro. It was getting bad at a point. Just scrolling, busting. Busting makes me feel good. Like, oh hell no. Fucking balls all hurting and shit. But yeah, I had to reduce that, man. But it was yeah, it's just not terrible. It's not terrible anymore. It's a few times a week now, which is way better. But that's also something that a lot of guys in a position like me are gonna use because that's the only sexual gratification you're really gonna get. It's like, what else are you using your for besides pissing? You're gonna fucking. I mean, you don't have any bitches in the goddamn rotation, you know, unless you want to purchase some fucking services. You're an ugly fucker like me. But yeah, that's another way to cope. Even beyond just the sexual stuff, just like that companionship itch. Yes, I am cringe as fuck. I do own a full size docky. I have multiple covers. But beyond that too, like fucking dating sims and shit like that, little visual novels. And yes, I do also listen to fucking ASMR role play. Sue me. Sue me, sue the fuck out of me. And yeah, I guess it's such a double-edged sword because it's a cope, but at the same time it reminds you of what you don't got, but then you think about what you don't have anyways when you're away from it, but then you like temporarily feel better while you're consuming that content. But then the moment it goes off, you have to get more, or else you're going to be even worse off than you were before. It's so weird. I can't even lie to you, man. This was some B-pilled shit that I came across. I don't usually listen to like the full NSFW audios. I listen to like the like girlfriend ones, but this was kind of fucking funny, man. Kind of brutal. This was like a one where like a girl had like a soft dom type thing, like the whole quote unquote mommy shit, right? That's been popular. But I know, stick with me here. I promise there's a point. But I was listening to this shit, and then she's talking about how much she prefers, like meek and timid men, which we know is not the case in real life unless you're just really fucking attractive. Then you can be whatever the hell you want to be. But she was talking about this shit, and then she said, yeah, sure, maybe going to a frat and getting pounded by a bunch of chads would be exciting. And I'm like, God damn, how you gonna cook the audience? Like, she tried to go back to talking you up afterwards. But it's like, how the fuck you gonna mentally cook the goddamn listener when the entire point of this was supposed to be appealing to shyer men? Like, even with financial incentive, you can't even hide those inputs. Like, you are being paid. Motherfuckers are probably on your Patreon. And even with money on the table, you can't even hide that fucking pure goddamn cocklust, bro. Oh man. That was funny as that was brutal. I just paused the shit. I start dying laughing, man. That was funny as fuck. What am I talking about anymore, bro? I'm retarded as hell. Oh my god. I just found that amusing. But yeah, it's just I'm trying to figure out just the kind of balance between, you know, just what kind of copes to engage in. Like, I think everything I'm doing right now could be incorporated to some degree and I could be cool. But it's like when I start thinking about cutting some shit back because it's not optimal for my best life, I just have to think, like, what the fuck is my best life? What the fuck can I actually, what can I even do with my mind this fried, with my mental this fried, with the world this fried, with my face this fucking fried, looking like a damn freak? Like, what the fuck can I actually do? What am I fighting for? Right? But yeah, that was just a little ramble. That was a little more lighthearted than most of them. I think this was necessary. I had fun with this one. Yeah. Peace out.
Ariza! Come out and face me, coward! Lord Frieza!
Lord Frieza!
It's time to settle this. Planet Vegeta's fate. And mine. And yours too! This ends now! What? Kakarot! With a single blow, Frieza brought Bardock's desperate struggle to a bitter end. In an instant, the Saiyan race, the planet Vegeta, and Bardock were wiped from existence. But as he slipped from consciousness, Bardock saw a faint glimmer of hope. Hear me, my son. You must be the one to avenge the Saiyans and the planet Vegeta! Bardock's battle against tyranny is over. However, his untimely end marked the beginning of the legend that is Goku.
I'm about to be driving during this video, so I know the audio quality is going to be shit. I'm just testing something out on my way to work right now. I know this is pretty similar topic-wise to the I should never exist or I shouldn't have ever existed video. But to be honest, it kind of goes deeper than that, because on top of the fact that I should have never existed, I feel as if I have been destined for misery. Like, I've been destined for misery from the moment I was born. I mean, yeah, shit could be worse. And people tell me that shit all the time, but what the fuck does that have to do with me? You know? Why do my circumstances have to be so dramatically horrible in order for me to even speak about them? Again, from the moment I was born, I was doomed to a fucking poverty and trauma-filled childhood from the start. The moment I was born, I was given fucked up genetics, a shitty-ass face, just attributes that were never going to be able to attract any kind of girl. I was given all kinds of fucking mental disorders, and probably the only good thing, one of the only good things my mother did for me was not do all the pills and all the fucking goy pills they were going to put me on. Because as fucked up as I am now, I can't imagine how fucked up I would have been if they would have let me pop those damn pills when I was like 7, 8 years old. That would have fucked me up so much worse. Just like everything about me, I was just fucking bred for misery. Everything about me was bred for misery, like mentally, physically, class-wise. And that's why it just confuses me. Why the fuck you would just willy-nilly just reproduce, just like no remorse, no type of feeling for the life that you're bringing into this world. Sure, the world might have been in a better state at the time, but shit was still going to hell. The writing was on the wall. But I guess that biological impulse to fuck and reproduce is just going to overtake any other type of decision making. You know, they're going to go at it, no fucking protection, no nothing, and just spawn a creature into this world that is doomed to suffer. And I'm going to end up delving into this more, but I have been hearing a fair bit about like antinatalism and how a lot of people believe it's just immoral to bring a person into this world, because by bringing them into this world, you doom them to suffering. And the first time I heard that, I was a teenager, and as fucked up as my life was, I didn't really agree with that point. I didn't really agree with, you being at fault just for giving birth to a person. You know, I was naive enough to just still see life in general as a good opportunity, or a gift, quote unquote. What kind of fucking gift is this shit been to me, man? What kind of gift is this shit been to me? 25, not a damn thing going on. Traumatized, scarred, it's fucking defeated. In every aspect of life, fucking defeated. And there's hordes more, just like me. And these fucking have the nerve in the government to talk about how birth rates are low and all this bullshit. Dude, good. You're telling me we don't have enough resources to take care of the people that we have right now? You're telling me we don't have enough resources to make sure that, everybody can eat, that everybody can have their health taken care of, but at the same time, I'm supposed to feel some great urgency to fucking reproduce? It's like they just want people fucking and reproducing and breeding all of these people so that they can suffer, or for the elites and tap dance. I think it was, who was it, Elon Musk? You're just trying to tell people to have kids or some shit. It's like, this motherfucker with more money than you could possibly have anything to do with is just telling, Joe Schmo working at fucking McDonald's, or a random janitor, or a random security guard, you need to fuck, you need to reproduce, you need to breed more suffering into this existence. It doesn't matter that the elites are putting you through misery and pain. We want more of you to dance for us. We want more of you to die for our amusement. And every once in a while, one of you comes out kind of gifted genetically or talented, and you can dance or sing or throw a ball really far. So we like watching that. Crazy as fuck. They had Big Epstein up there at the fucking Knicks games. I think he was like friends with one of the NBA commissioners back in the day. Like, that's fucking crazy as shit, man. These people, like, we are Sims characters to them, man. Which is why I never trust a motherfucker who plays The Sims, bro. Get the fuck away from me. Honestly, I can't trust any Sims nigga, man. I can't trust anyone who plays the fucking Sims. But that's what they're doing with us. They're playing The Sims. Like, I see these people doing all this crazy shit in The Sims, as far as, like, they'll make a little Auschwitz, basically, and just find different ways to kill people, and they'll have mods where you can do all kinds of murder and all this other shit. And that's how the elites are playing with us. That's how they're toying with us. All right. They want to see us drown. They want to see us suffer. They want to exterminate a certain amount of us as they please. Like, back to the whole Epstein shit again. They literally had, like, I think it was just black people that they would, like, scatter around the island and go and hunt. Yeah, they would just scatter them around the island and go hunt them. Like it was just something to do. Like, that's the plan. That's the goal. You're not supposed to think about the fact that you're breeding more misery into this world. You're supposed to be a slave to your biological impulse and provide more entertainment for the ones that hold the puppet strings. Doesn't matter if a motherfucker comes out like me, quarter way through life or a third way through life. Hopefully, I hope it's less than that. I really hope that I don't have that much longer to do this shit, because I don't know how much fucking longer I can do this personally. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have a guy like me or hordes and hordes of guys like me that were doomed to suffer from the moment they came out of the womb, or in my case, cut out of their mother's stomach. Yeah, it's just fucked up, man. I just don't. I mean, I guess I can judge, but again, like, we are physically programmed to want to fuck and reproduce. That's what provides the greatest challenge here. That's also another reason why it's like, because I'm a hypocrite here, and I can acknowledge that, because even though I wanted a girl, like I wanted to be able to have a girlfriend, which is just so far out of reach. I do realize that even though I didn't plan to have kids, biologically, the reason that I want to see one is because I want to reproduce on a like physical level. That is where that need comes from. On a physical level, we all want to reproduce. Like if there is any type of purpose, that's the fucking there's no grand goal, you know, and people quote say, oh, you have to find your own purpose. Well, yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, fucking yeah. But yeah, I can acknowledge that myself. My impulse is what drove me to that. Now I'm thinking about other shit too, right? Like what kind of girl I could get along with or have fun with, like all the relationship shit. But again, on a deep physical level, you're going to want to fucking reproduce. And all the fucking elites know that. But the thing with that is that even though you have these impulses, you're not required to satisfy them in a way that is going to breed more suffering. But the ways that I'm thinking about right now and the ways that you could probably think about off the top of your head all have their ups and downs and their pitfalls, you know. Adult quote unquote content, that's something else that, you know, can have its fucking pros and cons. And even though I perfectly fucking understand why as a guy you would do it, I even talked about it before. It's like, why in the actual fuck would you not, you know, again, just try to get the poison out, I guess, but that can have effects on you, that can have effects on your brain, you know. You can waste a lot of time doing that shit, man. Of course, you can pay to play, but the risk there is obvious. Very, very obvious if you pay to play what the risks are. But it's like there are, regardless of that, regardless of the fact that there are some pros and cons, there are alternatives to be able to get the fucking poison out without dooming somebody to suffering. And again, I think I'm going to check out more about antinatalism, stuff like that, because it does sound like something that I just ended up lining up with on my own. Just like on my own, I ended up kind of aligning with more of that philosophy. You know, again, I just heard a flash of it when I was a teenager, and then my life experience just carried me back there. So that's something to look back into. But yeah, I'm dragging the shit at this point, man. Existence is fucking suffering.
Out here, last time I was in San Francisco, I went downtown looking for a woman. You know what I mean? I wanted a woman. I couldn't find a woman. I found a lot of men that looked like women. Now you, Hulk Hogan, you belong in San Francisco. What's wrong with you, Gene? I'm telling you like it is, baby. You belong in San Francisco. That's your kind of place. That's your kind of people, because you've never had a woman, baby. And now I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you right now.
If you want romantic love as an ugly motherfucker, congratulations, you've just committed a federal offense. You've just committed a crime. You've just done something that you're never supposed to have the nerve to do. And you don't even really have to commit any kind of action in order to be in this kind of breach. It's a desire, an innate desire that you have physically that you can't control. But it doesn't matter, because if you allow yourself to have that and you don't chemically castrate yourself with pills, you have committed an offense. And a lot of you think I might be being melodramatic with that shit. But, like, let's be honest, that's really how it's treated when you're an ugly fucker. All right? Like, if you talk with anybody about it, and that's a mistake, don't do that shit. Unless you're, even in a space like this, you'll have just random outsiders just fucking bitching at you about it. If you talk about any kind of desire you may have for romance in your life, as a guy, as a specifically non-desirable ugly guy or a short guy, people are always going to tell you to wait, that, oh man, you don't have this, you don't have that together, you haven't worked on your game, you haven't worked on your game, buddy, you need to buy my $500 course, you need to buy my special soap, you need to like, get the fuck out of here, bro. You'll see these guys try to talk to bitches in real life on recording, and they will just embarrass themselves flat out. You know, unless they look good. And even if they do, they'll still embarrass themselves a little bit, but, you know, they'll get a girl to say yes, but it'll be obvious why, because the motherfucker is tall and looks good. All right? But yeah, they'll just tell you, oh, you need to, man, that's why you don't have any, because you're so focused on it. Just all you gotta do is just live your life, man. Focus on you, man, and she'll show up for you. I don't know who I'm impersonating here. I'm just making my voice sound as rhetoric as possible and as annoying as possible, because that's how it sounds to me when somebody says some dumbass shit like that to me, bro. Like, just the people that say that are people that have not had any type of struggle with that, man. You need to focus on this. You need to focus on that. Listen, man, nobody is going to say that shit to a female, I guarantee you. With a man, your advice that you're being given is whether or not you should even be able to have the opportunity to have someone in your life in that capacity. All right? When you're a female, all of the advice you're given is about who you let in that space, what kind of guy you let in that space, and they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to you when you tell them not to let a dude in their space that's going to, you know, Chris Brown or Ray Rice, even though Ray Rice, I'm not even gonna lie to you, with the whole Ray Rice situation, you know what? Let me not even share that, bro. I already have I've already created so many targets on me, even just talking about the shit I talk about on this channel. Let me not even go into that situation, but just from how I was leading into that, I'm sure you could tell what I was about to say. But yeah, man, they're not going to listen to that advice you give them about who to let in that space. But that's the difference. That's the difference, man. They get told who they're supposed to allow, and we get told how many side quests and fucking full JRPGs we need to complete in life in order to be worthy of having a single woman even look our way. Like, how dare you think about even wanting somebody in your life in that capacity if you haven't gotten this much money, if you're, and they won't say your appearance about anything you can't control, but you know that's what they mean deep down. If you're a short motherfucker, they're going to go on about this, that, and the third that you haven't done. And they say, oh, it's your negativity. It's your negativity. That's why you're bitchless. That's why you got no fucking hoes. That's why you got no females. Oh, you call them bitches and females and hoes. That's why, motherfucker, if I was looking good, all right, if I was quote unquote Chad, which I don't like using that shit because that shit has just become so cringe, but I mean, it's a good way to describe it here. if you're quote unquote Chad, all right, you can call that bitch a cunt. It doesn't fucking matter. You telling me because I call a female a bitch? I don't do this shit in real life. You act like I just go up to a female cashier and just cuss her out for having a pussy. No, I don't. No, the fuck I don't, bro. Like, I'm not just some. The mass majority of these people, even the ones that'll make certain jokes, are not just raging fucking misogynists in real life who are just gonna go around cussing bitches out and shit, bro. Like, that's not it. And it wouldn't even matter if I looked good enough. All right. And a lot of people, they know what the answer is, man. They know the answer is you're short. They know the answer is your face is fucked up. But the fact that you have the nerve to complain about that as genetic garbage offends them. So instead of just admitting where your plight is, they'll give you a million different side quests you need to complete that they didn't do, that anybody that looks good didn't do, but you need to do in order to even talk about the fact that you have a craving for romance in your life or for a woman in your life that you just innately have. A lot of us are at the point where we could just push a button and get rid of that shit. We would, man. This is such an inconvenient feeling to have when you're born into circumstances like we are. When you're born into circumstances where you're just never going to have that kind of success. I would press a button and turn that shit off. Honestly, man. It's not a good feeling to have. It's not conducive to my peace to have these urges in my body, to have these urges in my mind for fucking companionship. And that is probably, I know this is going to sound foul, and it is, but it's probably one of the only things I miss about being fresh off of all of that trauma that I went through was that I was so guarded up to the point where I had no craving for any kind of affection. I had no crap. I didn't even have any type of libido back then, man. Even though I think part of that was just me being overweight, I was probably like just low test as hell. But yeah, that was one of the only things that was good about that was that I had no cravings, and not even on a cope level where I don't want it because I can't have it. It's like, no, I was legitimately in a space where physically and mentally I had no such desires. And it's like, if I could be at the point like I am right now to where I have healed from a lot of that, but just press the button to have that specific part of me back, I would. Because you can't even express how you feel about this as a cope, even if you say some shit in a respectful manner. Even if you don't go off about, oh, these fucking bitches and whores. Even if you don't say things like that. Even if you just go off about, not even go off, even if you just simply express how you feel and you're like, hey man, it's kind of fucked up. You know, I shot a lot of shots and I wasn't able to get anywhere. It's because your attitude is bad. You're constantly talking about how you'll never get any bitches. Bro, straight gaslight, man. They already know what the actual answer is. You were cursed, man. You were cursed. You were born fucked up. And that puts you way behind. So instead of acknowledging that reality, again, they're going to dump a list of side quests that you're not going to be able to complete. They're going to dump that on you and say, don't you even dare talk about how you feel right now until you complete these side quests. Meanwhile, any female in existence, no matter how she looks, the advice is never going to be about when she's ready for a relationship or when she's ready for a guy. She never has to do anything to be ready. You just have to give her advice that she's going to fucking ignore on what kind of guy she should have around. Which is, again, just so much contrast to how we live life. It's like, damn, I can't even I can't even record this video and be good. I have nobody that I can actually talk to about this and be good and not hear the same fucking bullshit about how I need to take more showers. Motherfucker, do you think I'm just nasty? Okay, like, sure, like a lot of guys in the space, like you might not have be perfectly trimmed up all the time because you've given up. But do you think every motherfucker in this space just walks around smelling like goddamn SpongeBob after eating that ketchup sundae just every single day? No. Most motherfuckers know how to wash their, well, I hope so. I mean, like, I walk around at my work and around the store, and even though most motherfuckers are stupid, I don't smell an odor coming from most people. It is a distinct difference when I do smell an odor coming from somebody. So I'll gamble on the majority of people, even outcasts, know how to wash their own fucking ass, okay? You need to take more showers, bro. You need to improve your game, bro. You need to wear lifts in your fucking shoes, bro. You need to put on this male branded makeup, bro. You need to get this kind of haircut, bro. You need to you need to go fuck yourself. You need to suck my fucking dick. All right? That's what you need to do. Quit trying to sell me shit. Quit trying to take advantage of the fact that I'm a lonely fucker and sell me all this nonsense and give me all these products to buy. All right? Fuck you and your goddamn soap. All right? And fuck all the people that give me an entire RPG to complete whenever I just simply express the fact, hey man, just kind of fucked up, bro. I wish I had a pair of titties to rest my face in right now. Like, not even like that. I'm just being, out there for video. But yeah, man, you can't even talk about this shit, man. It's fucked up. Yeah, just a quick disclaimer I'm putting in post editing. This is a simple discussion of ideas and philosophy. I am in no danger whatsoever. Neither is anybody around me. This is a simple discussion of ideas. Nothing more, nothing less. My philosophy has gotten really strange when it comes to rope maxing or seppuku or sayoriing or whatever the hell term you want to call it, so YouTube doesn't take me the fuck down. It's it's changed a lot because a lot of times I used to have thoughts like that just due to the amount of suffering I was going through. Whether that be abuse, whether that be betrayal from friends, whether that be just, I don't know, like I was going through things that was making me miserable and the pain felt so unbearable that I just didn't want to be here anymore. But that's not really the point I'm at anymore, you know? Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't like right now, but things are stable, you know? I have a lot of shit to be grateful for. Things have improved, things have stabilized. I'm not anywhere near the most miserable state I've been in. But that one thought, that thought of clocking out early has remained. It hasn't gone anywhere. But again, I guess just my reasons behind it, my reasons behind the ideation have just kind of shifted more so. It's gone in a different direction. It's like I don't know, I'm bored maybe, but it feels like it's a little more than boredom. I don't know. Like I just see a general pointlessness with everything. I mean, when I think about so-called purpose, the most consistent so-called purpose that you'll see or that you can say is really reproduction, which is not feasible in the modern world for a whole host of reasons that you can see entire essays and videos about elsewhere. I don't even need to dig into all that. But especially for a guy like me that's just not that good looking. But yeah, that's the most consistent reason that you'll see to keep going, is that biologically it's hardwired into you to want to pass on your DNA, to not let your species die out. That's the function. Not because there's any greater goal beyond that. That is the goal. To keep the machine running. To keep going over and over and over until, for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen and we all go out. That is the reason. That is like the most consistent purpose that you'll see. And because that purpose is something that is removed from my life, there is really nothing objective afterwards that you can point to look at, or anything that I would see as something great that I would want to go through any type of suffering to go after. So it gets to a point where if my main biological function after being born on this planet is something that I've decided not to pursue because of how impractical it is, then what am I really doing? This is just a thought. Again, I'm not even suffering thinking about this. It just feels like I should clock out early. Feels like whatever's been done has just, whatever I would need to do has just been done, which is fuck all. But it's like, I'm just one motherfucker, man. I'm one person on this planet, and there's just not a lot of shit for me to do. There's not a lot of shit for me to look at to where I even feel like it's a necessity for me to continue. Again, these are thoughts that are removed from my suffering, or the suffering that I've gone through in my life, which I don't know if that's scarier or less scary, because it's just calm. It's calm. I'm not panicking thinking about it. This is a very strange headspace to be in. And it's like, again, people say you got to make your own reason. You got to make your own reason. And it's like, if that is true, then that means there isn't really. There really isn't. At that point, is you basically have to acknowledge that for that to be your answer. There's nothing real that you can point to and be like, hey, that's a reason you shouldn't clock out early. And again, that's just how I view it, man. Like, you look around at wherever your work post is, the work for the day has been done. You don't need the extra money from staying clocked in. So what do? You clock out, right? You rest. You get the fuck out. And is it like, am I really just going to stay in this limbo to where I am constantly trying to delude myself into thinking there is something that is so meaningful that I just absolutely cannot clock out early, that I just absolutely cannot give up? Or not even give up, because it's not even like there's anything I'm giving up on. There is nothing. This world is nothing. The only thing that even registers with me is pain. And why the fuck would I want to stay for that? Because at that point, then I'm just suffering again. So it's like, either suffer and be miserable and want to croak, or just think about how nothing you do really amounts to anything. But like, what would you even want something to amount to? It's just puzzling. Like, why? I mean, I guess it's not really puzzling why you continue, because much like the urge to reproduce, uh, the urge to not fucking croak is a very biological one. So at the end of the day, I'll keep going, and I don't do anything. I don't rope max or anything like that, because my body is programmed to seek out survival. at all times, but that's not even a challenge anymore. At this point in a human society, you're not running from any predators or doing anything like that. You're not zipping around and just having to put all these preparations and buildings in place to try and make sure that you and your tribe or whatever can survive. You can kind of just survive. So now you can think about it. It's like, what the fuck do you do now? And again, at this point, it feels like nothing. But that thought doesn't even make me particularly sad. I don't know. That's all I had to say. Why couldn't I have had one special trait to carry the rest of my shitty or dead average traits? It feels like I just had everything, just again, completely nerfed, just either average or below. And for a lot of people, even for a lot of people in this space, you'll see guys where they'll have like an ugly face or ugly this, or they'll be short, but they'll have something going for them, right? Like it'll be a tall guy, but he'll be bald or have an ugly face. If it's a shorter guy or just like a overall bad appearance guy, he'll be really smart. He'll have like high IQ. Some motherfuckers have like pretty advanced degrees and stuff like that. And it's just like I literally had nothing. I was nerfed in everything, you know? And I guess it could have been worse. I could have been like well below average at everything. But yeah, I was like, I'm dead average in terms of height, pretty fucking low IQ. I had to like, whenever I was trying to learn anything, I had to study over and over and over and just hammer a lot of shit into my brain and learn how to more efficiently get information in that I needed. Again, like looks wise, obviously you can guess I'm making a fucking channel like this. I ain't much to look at. My face is probably the worst part of it, man. The only thing that I have going good is my hair, and it's I'm 25 right now, so the Norwood Reaper has plenty of time to come collect. And it's just like, damn, I couldn't just have one thing. Again, like if I'm gonna be a nerdy, dorky ass motherfucker who is ugly and not much to look at and not tall, I couldn't have at least been high IQ. I couldn't have at least been smart or had some good talent. I mean, it's like, damn, another thing that I wish I could have had too. It's like, I couldn't have even had like a good speaking voice or anything like that. Like guys like DBDR, he has a good speaking voice and good cadence and good storytelling ability just off the top of his head. He'll be pretty funny too, and he'll tell like good jokes. He'll have nice charisma, and it's like, fuck. Like if I'm not gonna have height, if I'm not gonna have a good face, if I'm not gonna have good hair, if I'm well, I guess I have that. That's the only thing I have. But that's not gonna fucking undo everything else. But yeah, like if I couldn't have any trait that is gonna get me anywhere, it's like, motherfucker, damn, I couldn't have at least some charisma. I couldn't have a good voice. I had to be stuck with his nasally ass, nerdy ass bullshit. I couldn't be somewhat funny and be able to tell good jokes. Like I couldn't be able to be a good speaker. I just have to be fucked at everything. Like fuck, man. Like even with art, I draw and it's like every time I went and tried to learn the fundamentals in order to improve my skills, I would just get lost. Like I'd be drawing these geometric shapes and these perspective boxes and over and over and over. I would try to grasp this shit and like a ruler after like other tool and this and that. So many different courses. I just couldn't retain the information no matter what kind of studying style I used. It just all went to hell. So I could never really excel as somebody who does art. Like I'm just a hobbyist to where if somebody else looks at me doing it, it's like, oh, that looks cool or whatever, right? But like, obviously I'm not good enough anywhere close to actually be able to go anywhere with my art or have any sort of career with that. I couldn't even be good with that. And a lot of people who do art, they'll deny this. Some of that does also come down to genetics. I will say, compared to a lot of other aspects of life, art is a lot more based on the effort that you put in. But there is an aspect of it to where you got some people like Kim Jong-gi. He was like not drawing for 3 years or 2 years or something while he was doing military service. I believe so. I think that's why he wasn't drawing for those years. And he would literally just like practice in his head. And like he ended up being better at it when he went back to it. Like, who the fuck does that unless you're just an anomaly? Unless you're just a phenomenon? Some people who had the access to some of the same resources I did trying to learn art would come out significantly better than me because they would have the better mental capacity to be able to process the information the first or the second or even the third time that they did it and copied it and tried to learn it, and it's just like I just could never excel anywhere. And it's like, damn, if I couldn't be talented, I couldn't be good looking. I couldn't even just be dead average height and good looking and have a nice face or whatever. I gotta be a fucking goblin ass motherfucker. Really? I can't even look good. Like, goddamn, I just can't have anything. I can't be smart. I can't be tall. I can't have just one thing that just hard carries the rest of my build. My whole build just has to be just this slightly below average fucking build. I can't just have one good trait. Nothing. I couldn't have been born with shit. And it's like, it's almost even worse than if I was just born even worse off than this, because it's like, damn, at least at that point, you'll get some obvious support because it's obvious that, oh, this person has just been completely handicapped and nerfed by life. He needs some kind of support. We need to get some sort of help to him. At least then it would be obvious that I needed some fucking help. At least then people could generally look at my situation and be like, oh, okay, like we need to assist this motherfucker. No, it's like I'm just dead below average. So I'm at the point to where I am just barely competent enough to get through life, but my expectations that are placed on me are like a person who was born with a lot more gifts than I ever had. And it's just like, it's the worst of both fucking worlds. I don't have shit that makes me, it's purgatory. Basically, it's fucking purgatory. I am just good enough to where I can't achieve shit, and like just bad enough to where I'm not bad enough to actually get help with anything. And where people just completely disregard my issues and be like, oh, you're perfectly fine. You're not that ugly. Maybe not, but I'm still ugly enough to get no bitches. Like, come on now. It's just fucking crazy. Just everything about my build had to be just below the threshold to where I could get the advantages of either side. It's just a curse. And another one that a lot of guys talk about, I won't lie, I don't understand this one. A lot of other guys will talk about this when it comes to genetics, meat size. Like, I don't understand why that's even a discussion for us, dude. It's like, ain't no bitches seeing that shit, bro, unless you paying for it. And if you paying for it, she's gonna see that as as a fucking relief. She gonna be, oh man, I was aching after the last 3 appointments. Holy shit, it's about time. She's gonna be fiending for that fucking Vienna sausage you pack. you know? So it's not even, it's not gonna be a problem for you because we're already not getting any action, not getting any play. Like, I don't understand why that specific complaint even comes up, bro. It's irrelevant to us. And if it ever does become relevant, by the time she sees it, you got the bitch in bed. You won. You win. What's the worst that's gonna happen? You don't smash again? Well, you smash that time. You win. Like, yeah, like that's kind of irrelevant. I mean, I guess I can get it a little bit to where especially with black dudes, that whole BBC shit, and people just imprint that into the minds of society, and like, you're supposed to have this, but it's like, I guess I get it to some degree, you know. Like society has just imprinted it into your mind that you're supposed to have it and you don't, so you feel weird. But again, it's just irrelevant because ain't no bitch seeing it anyways, bro. Like you bitchless, at least not be bitchless and wait until then to complain about it, which most of us aren't gonna get the opportunity to do. So again, that one was kind of weird, but everything else though, height, face, hair, any other type of talent, IQ, I just reached the perfect threshold to not be good enough to excel at anything, but also not be shit enough to be obviously in need of help. So yeah, that's all I had to say. It's just a fucking cursed ass existence, man. I haven't had terrible luck when it comes to friends as far as my adult life goes. For the most part, they just tend to get bored after a while and just not fuck with me anymore, which is cool. Nobody really has to. But usually nothing really happens. I don't really get into any kind of arguments or have any sort of major fallouts with anybody I consider a friend. You know, usually they just either forget about my existence or just stop fucking with me, which again, both are cool. But I've had one particular instance where somebody straight Judased me, straight Griffithed me, and just fucked me over and just actually straight up betrayed me. And this is the person that I probably went out of my way to help the most. And I think that really does say something too, that the person that I put the most effort into attempting to help was the one that ended up backstabbing me. I wanted to just kind of refer to him as Griffith in this video. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but uh his nickname that I had for him, which I didn't even know was gonna be fitting, was Maxine. And I'm gonna explain how his nickname ended up being that, but yeah, I didn't know that he was actually bitch made. So that nickname, I don't know, maybe I had some type of future sight I wasn't aware of. But yeah, uh he will be referred to as Maxine in this video. And I guess I'll just start out and talk about when shit was good. Uh, one of my friends that I met at Walmart, and we didn't really talk that much at first when he started working there. I was like 20, I think. He was around 24. But then eventually, I think it was like a Goku shirt or like some other shit I had on. Then we just start talking about anime. Some of my other work friends I had there would join in. And, you know, we were all cool there. We had our little squad or whatever. We would make jokes, crack jokes about all kinds of shit. I remember there was this one manager that would always piss us off. And I told him that she looked like deflated All Might and sent him a picture of her or of him. That was some funny shit back there, man. It was just always fun. Like on lunch break, we'd go across the street and get a calzones from this one place to shoot the shit, talk, whatever. Just have all kinds of fun, man. Like it was just cool. And he was the first friend as an adult that I had actually ever hung out with outside of work. Like we went bowling and like I got some shit to eat afterwards. It was super fun, man. Everything was chill. Everything was cool. Uh yeah, like literally nothing was wrong. But then one day this LaQuisha ass bitch decides that she's just going to go in on him. I think that he came back late from his break or something, and instead of being a regular manager and being like pulling him to the side and talking to him, be like, hey, you know, you can't do that, or even just giving him a write up, she just starts going in on him and like cussing him out and shit. And he's trying to calm the situation down, but eventually she just fucking goes too far, and then he starts cussing her out back. Then she threatens to call security on him, and you already know, like if they threaten to call security on you, that just basically means security is about to call the police on you, and he's a nigga. So he knew it was time to book it and get the fuck out of there. He was subsequently fired right after. Actually, on that same day too, he called me and told me about everything that had happened. And I was just at home, man. I was on my day off, and he called me about it. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna just go up there and check on him. I didn't have a car at the time, so I took the bus, went up there. We just hung out a little, shot the shit, talked about obviously the bullshit that had happened with her because she had always been a bitch of a manager. I think her time there was pretty short lived though. Joey didn't only just talk about that either. We just walked around, talked about like Naruto and some other shit, right? Like, it was just a good time. It was pretty fun. But yeah, unfortunately, that was the end for him as far as Walmart goes. Well, not unfortunately, fuck Walmart, but he was able to get a few other jobs after that, and he would tell me about them. He'd swing by the store every now and then. We would catch up. Our messages weren't very frequent after that, but he was one of the few people that stopped working at the store and would still kind of tap in here and there. So yeah, that was nice. Or I thought it was. It would have been better in the long run if he had just ghosted like the rest of them. Yeah, like eventually shit just started getting harder for him too. And that should have been the first kind of clue that I got because yeah, we did message every now and then, but I was typically, I'm not even going to say carrying most of the conversation, but making most of the efforts to initiate. So he would talk and like respond pretty good, but like whenever we did talk, I was kind of initiating here and there, which is why there was just a lot of gaps. And shit started getting harder for him. He started running into health issues. Car fucked up, so I was driving him to work here and there. When that bum could actually maintain a job for 2 fucking weeks. Uh, Actually, this is a good time right here to tell the story of the Maxine nickname. This is again after he was already fired from Walmart, and I think he was talking about another job he was going to where where they wanted him to get the jab, the virus jab that everybody was passing around a few years ago. I didn't get that shit. He didn't get that shit. But yeah, they were talking about it, and I was like, dude, that is too fucking quick. That shit seems too experimental for me. I'm not gonna fuck with it right now. And he said the same thing, and then he just said this weird ass shit. He said, uh, "I'm not gonna get it, or my name ain't no vaccine, Maxine." So I never dropped it. It was Maxine as soon as he said that dumbass shit. I never dropped it ever. Um, but yeah, like that was pretty funny. And then it became Pope Maxine after some other shit happened. I had started hanging out with him and one of my other friends, my first friend that I'd ever actually made at Walmart when I was 20. And we were hanging out at Golden Corral. And he was basically trying to get my first friend to talk to this one girl, this one waitress he was looking at. And I forget why I said this dumbass shit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This was even fucked up of me to say, but like somehow, like he was talking about his cats, and he said something I can't even remember particularly what, but he said something about like petting his cats that just did not sound right. It was very pause worthy, and I noted that. And then he said, "Are you trying to call me the Catholic priest of cats?" So I was like, "Okay, Pope Maxine, we got it. There it is." So yeah, that was some funny shit. My other friend, he ended up making a complete mess of himself in front of that girl, which is not even his fault because he was put on the fucking spot. But eventually, he actually ended up getting pretty good with girls, man. Like, yeah, I mean, it looks like he's just been running through bitches. So he was one of those rare late bloomers that a lot of copers talk about. He was a rare exception of that actually being real, you know. He's running through them nowadays. But anyway, yeah, eventually, uh, the new job every 2 weeks stopped happening, and he just didn't have a job, was having health issues. Gaps between us talking got longer. And then at some point, again, he just starts talking to me again. I meet up with him at the park near the library. And yeah, we just start talking again. He's talking about how fucked up shit is with his life. And you know, I tried to help him out. I gave him some money to go get groceries, and it's like I never held any of this shit over his head, by the way. Like, I've never been the type of motherfucker to do that. If I'm gonna do something that I want to do for somebody or like outside of myself, that's not some shit I'm gonna just hold over somebody at any point, right? I think that is like some of the corniest shit in the world to do. I think that is just so fucking gay, man. Like, why would you even do that shit? But yeah, I was helping him out here and there. His internet was off, so I had a PS4 that I wasn't using because I had already built a new PC. So yeah, I just let him have the shit instead of, you know, him just having to fucking rock there with no internet unless he went to the library. And things just started to shift a little bit, man. I went over to his apartment one time and there was just cans and cans of alcohol just littered around. And he's telling me about this, and I'm like, damn, I know when you're downtrodden, when a lot of things have happened to you, when you've been fucked over. You know, he was dealing with some girls or whatever that had messed him over, right? And I'm just telling him, like, dude, I know shit is going bad. You might want to cope, but like, hey, you got to watch it on this. Like, you got to watch it on this stuff. It's not going to go well for you. It's not going to end well for you, especially if you're already in bad health. And he seemed receptive, but that was a load of bullshit because eventually, like 2 weeks later, he just straight up asks me for money to go get booze. And I'm like, dude, like, I helped you out as far as trying to, you know, hook you up with a little money here to get some groceries because shit was fucked up for you. But listen, man, like, you don't want to do something like that. I'm not even trying to accuse you of anything or trying to use or nothing like that. I get it. You're in a fucked up position and that's how you've dealt with things, but you need to start thinking in a different way. You know, if you're actually going to make it out of this, if you're actually going to get out on the other side and be better for it. And again, this time he actually seemed to take what I said to heart and he's like, oh, you right, bro. You know, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. But then the contact just slowed down. Like, all of a sudden, he's not really hitting me up anymore. You know, all of a sudden, he just damn near vanishes, man. I hit him up. Responses are dry. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, so that's how it was, really, right? That's not the worst of it, though. This was when he officially plunged that knife into my fucking back and turned it. Because he had mentioned, I don't even know how much later this was, but it had been a while due to the fact that, again, he had been kind of avoidant. But he mentioned to me that somebody that he used to work with had passed away. And I was talking with him about it. And then he eventually just said, yeah, I think I need to just some alone time to process this. And I'm like, all right, you know, take care, man. And he took that as just the biggest insult in the world for whatever reason. He just went off on me. He's like, oh, what the fuck you mean take care? That's some fuck nigga shit. Fuck you talk about some take care. And I'm like, hey, bro, chill out. Like, don't fucking come at me. What the fuck are you talking about right now? Like, you said you wanted some space. And I was like, okay, man, like, I get it. I understand you. I'm not going to press you, take care. And he's like, oh, man, what the fuck is you talking about, man? I thought we was cool. And I'm like, and this is some shit that he says to me after he has been avoiding me after I didn't give him booze money. And then he just decides he's going to go off on me. And I'm just like, bro, I'm not fucking doing this with you, bro. Watch who you fucking talking to. And then, the big one hit. He actually threw some stuff I told him about in private back into my face. Basically some of the abuse that I had faced in my childhood. He just threw that shit back in my face for the sake of the argument. Right? He said, oh, you didn't get all this attitude with that nigga who you. That's what he said to me. That's what he said to me because I said, take care. After I spent, so much time helping him out, giving him rides and shit, just trying to help my friend get back on his feet because I thought he was still fucking cool. He just decides to throw something that I actually trusted him with. And this is not something I just go around talking about. All right. Like, he's one of, like, there's one other person that I have ever spoken about with that. Like, I don't throw that shit around. So I thought we were actually fucking close. And he just throws that shit in my face. So then at that point, I'm like, all right, bro, just fuck off. Drink yourself to death for all I care. Get the fuck out of my face, dude. Do not contact me. And then he's like, oh, man, how you gonna wish death on me? And it's like, I didn't even wish death on you. I said, you can drink yourself to death for all I care. I don't fuck with you. I don't care what happens to you anymore. Because how are you gonna do some shit like that to somebody over absolutely nothing? Somebody who went out of their way to help you. And I'm like, dude, keep all that shit, the fucking game, all that nonsense that I helped you. Keep it and fuck off. Do not contact me. And then he just starts spamming me with all these voicemail messages talking about, oh, yeah, I'm going to come see you now. I know where you at. Yeah, you know where I'm at. Come see me. He just starts getting on this ignorant monkey shit. Like, bro, I'm a grown-ass person. I don't have time for this fucking drunk, man. Get the fuck out of my face. Then, like, he just flipped back and forth. That's how I know he was just mental. Because after that, a little while later, he's talking to me and he's all like, oh, I know things went bad last time, but, talk about some I forgive you. Bitch, are you out of your goddamn mind, faggot? What the fuck are you talking about some I forgive you? Like, bro. And then from another number, like months later, he's like, oh, I ain't forgot that shit you said to me. I'ma come slap your hoe ass. Like, what? And then all I said to him in response was, do not contact me. You are a failure. And then I blocked that number, and that was the last I've heard of him. I would not be surprised if that motherfucker's in a ditch somewhere, man. What a piece of shit. And that was the only true betrayal that I've ever experienced as far as a friendship goes. And it's just like, I don't fucking get how you could do that to somebody, man. Somebody that tried so fucking hard to look out for you. Somebody that just fucking, like, bro, I never threw this shit in your face. And then for some reason, right, he just starts to fucking bring up all these supposed grievances that he had with me. All these supposed grievances that he had with me just start to come up. He was talking about how when I would ride him to work or whatever, pause, when I would drive him to work, he was like, oh, yeah, that's why you was, man, you was driving so fucked up, you was swerving and blah, 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 and all this. And this is why such and such at work wanted to beat your ass, man. You always talking like that. Now, I had never fought with this fool a single time. Ever. I had never fought with this fucking fool. Yet, all these years of grievances that I had never heard of just come out of nowhere. And I'm like, That's how I know you're bitch made. Because if you had that many problems with me, and you as a grown ass man couldn't come to me and talk to me about that face to face and be like, hey man, I don't like this, or he was talking about jokes and shit that I would make, like the Pope Maxime thing, right? And you a grown ass man, and I call you that shit, and you're like, hey man, I don't fuck with that, right? I'm considerate of my friends. Like I've said shit to other friends before that they didn't like, and they were like, hey man, I don't like that. It was never an issue again. But you're such a bitch. You so bitch made that you just act like you cool the whole time, and then come up to me afterwards after the whole fallout and be like, oh yeah, man, this is why such and such wanted to beat your ass, man. You always talking all this shit. And it's like, you had such an issue with it, and you just let this shit happen to you for this many years. Like, you're just a bitch. You're a pussy. Because as a grown ass man, you couldn't even bring up your own grievances that you have and speak the fuck up to somebody that has been completely reasonable with you and has done nothing but try to help you or try to be cool with you or try to talk. It's just like, that's just really the nature of people, man. That's why I don't fuck with motherfuckers like that. Because even somebody that I had vetted, somebody that I thought was cool, somebody I thought I could trust to that degree, again, this is not some, I told him shit that I do not just go talking about. Somebody that I thought I could trust just fucking does that shit, man. And it's like, you're just like the rest of these pieces of shit in this garbage ass fucking world, man. And you get sold a lot of this shit through different types of media about male friendship and like the bonds. And I've seen other stories that guys have like mine. That shit is really a load of nonsense, man. A lot of these motherfuckers would sell you to Diddy if it meant a whiff of pussy. All right. A lot of these motherfuckers are betrayers, backstabbers, Griffiths. They really don't give a fuck whether you live or die. They give a fuck what you can do for them. They care about what purpose you serve to them in the short term, or if they think there's any leverage based on it. I just base it, like, I just judge it based on if I like spending time around somebody or talking to somebody, or if they have a mindset that I can like kind of relate to. That's what I base it off of. But everybody is trying to get up. Everybody's trying to get over. If you're not useful in a very just material, like material, tangible type of way, you're going to be discarded. And I think that's what happened. I don't even think any of that bullshit he mentioned actually did matter. And he's a bitch if it did, but I don't think it did. I think he brought that up as just some excuse for me not being useful and, you know, funding this motherfucker to mess up his liver. You know, that's really what it came down to. So, yeah, man, you got to watch your back around these people, man. A lot of them are snakes. Even these people around you that are, so-called similar to you or should be able to relate to you, have similar experiences, have been fucked by the world. You know, you think you know a guy, you never really do. You never really do. I'm at a point right now where I've almost been intentionally destroying myself. I know I've said this like a million times, but I'm not exactly the most fond of living right now, or ever, to be honest. But again, also, as I've stated a lot of times before, since it's a necessary disclaimer, I do not have any intentions of doing any harm to myself or anybody else. I am completely safe. This is just, me airing out my grievances and my philosophy and all that stuff. I am completely safe. But despite that, it's almost as if I am passively trying to at like a shorter, less aggressively, I guess. You know, uh, I was eating a lot of BS today, a lot of slop, a lot of nonsense, like I have been doing for the past few months, and it just kind of occurred to me that it's almost like I'm just passively making sure that I don't go that far. As far as my existence goes, man. Like I'm just trying to damage myself without actually doing anything. Because I'm really just at a point where I'm too, like, my biological instinct to survive is overpowering a lot of these thoughts I have. So I just kind of passively do something else to where, maybe I won't have to be here that long. And again, it just, it makes the cope go beyond the initial cope. Because the initial cope is setting off my dopamine receptors with all this sugar and nonsense. But then the cope afterwards is, this is going to make me not be here at some point. All right. A lot of people question why people do certain substances, certain illegal substances. And, I also questioned it, but it just starts to make more sense the older I get. A lot of these people, yeah, they take it to experience the sensation, but after the sensation gets weaker and after they can't really experience it as they did when they first started, I really do think that a lot of people that are addicts, they are intentionally trying to get themselves out of here, man, off of this planet. Because when you think about it, the life of an addict, you're going to do so much in order to get your fix. It's going to destroy so many aspects of your life, so many employment prospects, so many relationships. Like your addiction is going to make you do things to where everybody around you is going to want to distance themselves from you. And you can't really be blaming anybody for that. Stealing is a pretty common one, right? So people are not going to want you around. So when you're in a position where you've become addicted to a substance, and that substance addiction has driven you to the point of having a completely destroyed life, what else is there to do except have so much of it that you don't have to deal with the product of your destroyed life? Now, I know that's a more dramatic example compared to what I'm doing here, but I, I think there's just something so sinister about the fact that we have such easy access to things that have documented negative effects on our health, and that just, again, just like it's so documented, it's so well backed up that pretty much every single disease that we can think of that you can get on your own can be caused from a lot of this stuff we eat. And the shit's addictive, man. It is. I know I sound like a fat fucker here, and I am, but it's really addictive stuff. And then I guess I just kind of romanticize the idea that what I'm doing with this is going to make me not have to deal with the pain for longer, than I want to, which I don't want to at all. But, I guess it just reduces my sentence, so to speak. I mean, this is kind of this planet is just a prison for me. And so I guess I feel as if I'm reducing my sentence by doing certain things that aren't great for my health. And I've come to see the flaw in that. It is a very miserable existence going out due to some obesity caused disease, you know, and you're not really even guaranteed to go out when the negative effects come into play. You can have a heart attack or a stroke and survive, and then just have something permanently damaged with your body, and then just be suffering at an even greater rate. You can go through even greater suffering and even greater misery than you were before, and your lifespan isn't even cut that much. You're still here, and you're just fucking miserable. And that was some shit I had to think about, man. It's like, am I really reducing my sentence, so to speak? Or am I extending my sentence and adding some very non-favorable conditions to that sentence as well? Am I adding on extra time for bad behavior? You know, something to think about. And I've procrastinated so much as far as getting back into this workout, but that was the main reason I wanted to get this recording out right now. It's pretty late at night, and as soon as I hit stop on this recording, when I go back inside, I'm going to my weight set, and I'm getting a lift in, you know. I already did my meal prep earlier, while I was thinking about the idea for this video. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things that I have zero hope for in this life. Having a girlfriend or a wife, never. That shit's not gonna happen. Uh, Having any sort of talent, that's just not gonna work for me. My I'm just not good at learning things and picking up. I've tried a lot of different avenues, you know, as far as art goes, and yeah, I've tried art. I've tried different kinds of art, really. So animation as well, stop motion, figure photography, things like that. And it's just my ability to take in information and learn the fundamentals of any skill is very low. I will always be able to get good enough to where a random passerby could look and say, "Oh, that's pretty cool," but never good enough to where I could actually ascend in life with anything that I do. I don't have any sort of charisma or great speaking skill to be able to use that in order to get anywhere either. Like I don't have any hope for a lot of things in this life, but there is one thing that I've done in the past and I already know I can do, which is be able to exercise well. Again, my genetics there aren't even that good. My muscle building genetics are pretty damn dead average, even a little below. It took me a little over a year to get to that 2-plate bench. So it's not like I'm working with anything freakish here. I'm really not. I'm pretty damn below average there as well. But yeah, it's like if I'm going to be here, if I'm going to be miserable and stuck here, it's like, damn, like, do I really have to look in the mirror and see a slob and make my miserable existence on this planet that much more fucking miserable? Do I have to make my cursed existence even worse by my own choice here? And that's just kind of what I've been pondering. I said it in another video. I was questioning what I would be trying to build towards by getting more money or by, doing other things to quote unquote improve my life when this life is so messed up. It's like, why not just lay down and cope? And it's like, if I'm not going to clock out early, I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here. I can be miserable or fucking mega miserable. It can suck or it can super suck. Pause. No diddy. Uh, yeah, it's like, if I'm gonna be here, am I really gonna make myself even more miserable by looking in the mirror and seeing Bacterian from OG Dragon Ball? Is that really what I want to do? I'm a fucking wolf man too right now, man. I haven't gotten my hair cut in months. Partially because of not caring, but I was also kind of traumatized. This is a little funny story here. Well, not even a full story. It's just some funny, fucked up shit that happened to me. Last time I tried to get a line up and just a little trim because I have a good amount of hair. My shit got fucked up, bro.
You gotta fight the barber, he push your shit back.
My hairline got pushed back. I was looking like the Prince of all Saiyans, man. That shit traumatized me. I had a hood on. I had a fucking do-rag on, bro. Like, I would not let anybody see my hair for like 4 months, man. I'm so serious. Like I had a do-rag on just to make sure nobody saw my hair. And then because there's some baseball caps I had that I can't usually wear because of my hair, like some Dragon Ball ones, I put the hat over the do-rag. So then one day when I was walking home, my aunt saw me and didn't even recognize me. I just had a hat and a do-rag on and I'm just walking and she's like, I was like, who the hell is that nigga over there? Like, yeah, I was looking like a fucking Def Jam Vendetta character for months. So yeah, that trauma there is partially why I haven't gotten another haircut. But yeah, besides that, obviously just lack of care. Um, Lack of care about anything. It's not gonna ascend my life or make my life less miserable or not suck. I'm fucked over. My genetics are not going to allow me to get to a point that uh that would grant me a life that I'd consider good, you know? And the same case goes for a lot of people. But I'm just at this crossroads, man. I'm at this crossroads where it's like, are you going to sink into your copes extra hard to the point where you could possibly reduce your sentence if things quote unquote go your way? Or are you just gonna go from super miserable to maybe slightly less miserable? And I think I'm going with the latter because it's just more practical. It's more in line with what I already know I can do. I've already gotten to a point several times in the past to where I was able to get a pretty damn good physique going. Uh, I had some good savings going and all that. That shit didn't make my life any better. Life is still ass, but hey, you know, I guess I'll just accept that part, but try not to make it any worse on myself because I can't really clock out early. I can't really clock out early like I think about. So, yeah, I guess that's all I had to say for today. Let me go get this shitty ass lift in for the first time in a few months. I'll check back with you guys as far as the lifting goes in about a week or so. Tell you guys how it's going. Peace out. I don't understand how all of this shitty ass food is legal. Like, I mean, it has affected society in general on such a wider scale than hard drugs and all this other shit we ban. Like, we literally ban prostitution. Like, we ban grown ass women being able to sell pussy to somebody, but somehow we don't ban the shit that's caused so much obesity, so much heart disease, so much cancer, and it's so fucking addictive too, man. It is just some of the most addictive shit. I mean, this topic came across my mind because I was at the grocery store last night. My little cousin sent me out to get like all this fucking slop, Cheetos, Oreos, all this bullshit she wanted. And I was at the store, slightly off topic here, but that line was pissing me the fuck off, man. We had all these people that couldn't walk and that were around in the fucking carts. And it was a Saturday night too, which was the best time. Thanks, little cousin. Um, but yeah, just everybody was crowding everywhere. Nobody has any spatial awareness. Everybody's pissing me off. But there was this one little kid who was like pushing my cart up a little bit. Like I don't know. I mean, at least there was like a little gap in front of me, so she was trying to push my cart up to help because like I wasn't really looking that much. I was just looking at some shit on my phone. But I hope life goes well for that kid. But anyways, yeah, I was in there in that crowded ass store buying all this goy slop, and it just got me thinking about how fucked up it is that we just have this as such an ingrained part of American society. You know, just everything in our society is just so centered around it. From the time where kids, just so little, like you just put these kids on this shit, and it's younger and younger and younger. I was watching this one video from this channel that I've been watching for a few years now. I don't know how to say her last name. I think it's Kiana Doherty, I think. I'll link the video I'm talking about in the description, but she was talking about how parents are just taking their kids to get all these sugary, highly caffeinated ass Starbucks drinks, and like middle schoolers are pulling up to their school. And it's like, you already know how it is if you live in fucking America. Like, our food is so fucked up here that I think our bread is considered cake in Europe. That's how fucked up it is. And we're raised on this from such a young age, man. Like, we recognize the McDonald's logo and all this other shit before we can recognize most historical figures that you would learn about in school. Okay? Like, and I just don't get why this shit is considered acceptable. Even in the shit that's branded as healthy for us, like, it'll be kind of deceptive. Like, they'll brand things around fruit and vegetables and other things that we intuitively know we're supposed to be eating, and really just put a hint of it in there and just dump the rest of it with sugar. So for your fruit snacks, barely any fruit in that bitch. It'll be like a little bit of fruit juice they'll put in there, and then just a bunch of high fructose corn syrup. You know, the chicken nuggets, who knows what the fuck they're putting in, like the meat and all that shit they're doing. That's less deceptive because they don't try to market that as healthy, but still, like, if you told me it's chicken, I expect the shit to be chicken and not all this other filler nonsense that you're putting in there for the fucking kids. And then it gets to a point where, like, people are so judgmental about it too when it comes to obesity in America. But it's like, so many of us were raised on this shit just from an early age. Like, would you blame somebody who was a fucking crack baby for having substance abuse issues as an adult? No, you were set up for failure. All right. Our parents raised us on this shit and trained our brain to seek out this specific stuff for the rest of our lives. Whenever we try to get some food, we're scrolling past the aisle and we're looking at all this shit. We're looking and we're having to actively resist and actively choose that we're not going to get this food. We have to actively choose and decide that we're not going to damage our health by consuming this garbage. All right. But for somebody who had some responsible adults in their life, they were eating healthy in the first place. It's not a mental struggle. It's not a whole God of War boss every time you go to the grocery store. You just pick out shit that's good for you and shit that you enjoy because you were raised on that. But then you look at me fucked up because I'm just in this horrible cycle that was pushed onto me from a young age. And I do get it. You know, it's not your fault, but your responsibility thing. I agree. But most people just have zero understanding when it comes to it, which I just don't get when you live around so many people who have those exact same circumstances. And but I really just want to encourage anybody that's watching this video, because I know a lot of people who have watched this video are kind of similar to me. You know, you've given up on a lot of different aspects of life, and you're pretty jaded, and you don't really have much that you want out of this society. You kind of want to avoid everybody. And yeah, junk food, it'll light up your brain. It'll taste good. It'll be a good cope in the meantime. But I'm telling you, that shit, you might as well be taking hard drugs at that point, man. So I want to encourage anybody who's in that similar cycle. I know it's hard. Just do a little better, man. Do a little better every single day when it comes to the food you're choosing, because they're setting us up to fail. They're setting us up to pay these fucking doctors $200 to tell us they don't know what the fuck is wrong with us, and then tell us to fuck off and go take pills so we can do it all over again, and then just keep repeating that cycle until we have something that is developed too far to even be dealt with or cured or treated, and then we just fucking croak. Nobody is going to help us with this. So you have to take it in your own hands. And even if you're not doing that much, even if you're a fucking neat man, have some room in your gaming chair. Don't have 500 pounds of ass to break your gaming chair with, you know? Like, actually be comfortable in your bed, at least. If you have some sort of hobbies you engage in, do that. You got all that time? Go take some fucking walks. Like, do you really want to be in poor health just because you don't have that many obligations? All right, like, just don't let these people continuously spoon feed this fucking slop into you. Don't let your parents' irresponsibility in your childhood just continue to fuck up your life like it has for so many people. It's a battle. You're going to go back and forth. You're going to fuck up. Hell, I fucked up. Last night, when I went to grab that shit for her, I got some shit for me. Because I was in those aisles I'm usually not in and looking at shit, and I fucked up, man. Like, I ate some nonsense. So I'm trying to keep it real here. Yeah, you're going to fuck up at times, but if 9 times out of 10, you're on point, you're staying away from all of this garbage that they're trying to spoon feed you, you're going to be in a much better position no matter what you think of life, no matter what your philosophy is, no matter what your take is, no matter what walk of life you come from, man. Avoid this bullshit. Avoid all of this poison. This shit is not food. It's not food at all. And again, this shit is just, you might as well take hard drugs if you're gonna fucking do it. Like, I can go and consume something on a frequent basis that is proven to result in early death over and over and over again. Okay, people not living past 50 and their 40s. You'll see all these fucking quote unquote influencers too. They're dying early from that shit. You know, they're dying at like 30 years old, fucking themselves up over views. So people who have shitty ass diets themselves can look at people who just eat an exaggerated version of what they already eat and be like, oh, well, at least I'm not that guy. Well, at least I'm not him. Well, at least I don't do that much. That's not a high bar. We're all consuming terrible garbage over here. And these motherfuckers are just normalizing it. They're normalizing it by eating exaggerated versions of what we're eating. And then just, again, giving us something to look at to where, oh, well, at least I'm not doing that much. No, you need to fix what you're doing as well. You need to fix that shit, man. It's not okay. All right? And even though I do not recommend bringing any fucking children into this shitty ass world, all right, look out for those around you. If you got anybody younger, show them some shit that you like to eat that's healthier if you've gotten into it. Or as you're getting into it, share a little bit of what you learn. Don't be extra preachy and douchey about it or nobody's going to listen to you. But share a little here and there, you know? Just try to shake some of the programming. Because again, it doesn't matter what your philosophy is or what aspect of life you come from. Avoiding the poison that they're trying to feed us is always going to be the best way to go.
Did you really think I'd let you go? I'm going to crush you all like the insects you are!
Stop it, Frieza! Goku! How could you? You'll pay for this! You've killed so many innocent people already! And now, Krillin! This time you're going to pay! Frieza!
Empathy is probably the biggest nerf that you can have in this society as an excess male. And I think the main reason that is because it's something that is never going to be afforded to you in your life. You're never going to get that same courtesy. It doesn't really matter what your circumstances are. It doesn't matter what you're going through. Something as simple as merely speaking about your experiences is going to gain you the ire of the rest of society. It's going to have you excluded. It's going to have you villainized. You can't even express what you're going through, regardless if you're talking to, a normal person, regardless if you're talking to a normal, regardless of if you're talking to somebody who's in a similar position to you, another excess male, they're not going to be any better 9 times out of 10. And of course, I'm mainly talking about the people that don't really realize their position as excess males. But you'll see even in this space, man, sometimes people will just eat each other alive and just go at each other despite being able to understand each other in a way that nobody else really can, you know? So whether it be us, whether it be normies, especially not females, just broader society as a whole, empathy is never going to be afforded to you. And I've learned this the hard way several times. I'm not sure when I'm going to be dropping this video, but I do have a video recorded about a friend that betrayed me. I had a Judas friend who just fucking stabbed me in the back. And I had way too much empathy towards him. Okay. Way too much. I stood by and tried to help him, tried to assist him with whatever situation he was going through. When he would make the wrong decisions, I was there to try and, advise him. But as the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. And that was exactly the case there. So when he was destroying himself with alcohol, when he was doing just all this nonsense, if he would be at work and just, crash out over some bullshit, I'd be trying to calm his dumb ass down. Like, and it just got to that point because I thought we were cool, Uh, like I say, most people aren't even going to listen to you talk. So the fact that this motherfucker was even there to lend an ear, I thought we were cool. We had discussions that put me under the false impression that this was just a person that had struggled and that he had some sort of intelligence, right? Like, I don't know how he managed to kind of make me think that about him. I don't know. But like there would be some discussions we'd have that would be like kind of existential and like going into different philosophies as far as creation goes and just the world in general. And this was just a person I thought I could relate to. So I wanted to look out. But none of that really mattered. None of that was enough to get stop me from getting stabbed in the back. And I should have seen the signs so much earlier. There was so much shit to where I should have just been like, this is a person that is going to destroy me and destroy what I have going on. But that empathy, that is just such a major nerf for you as an excess male. It's just so strange too, because this was a lesson I had even learned in childhood. I mean, to spin it back to Dragon Ball Z, like I do with everything else. Goku versus Frieza. All right, that entire fight was well, after Goku turned Super Saiyan, of course. That entire fight was Goku trying to figure out how not to kill this motherfucker. Like, so many times he tried to spare him and like try to figure out how to make things work. And he tried to cut him in half with those fucking bootleg Destructo discs. He tried to do all kinds of stuff to him. He tried to kill him with his own energy. And you see, especially in the manga panel, after he does the deed, you can see Goku is still disappointed in what he had to do. He is still disappointed in the fact that he had to take it that far, despite all the shit he had done. Because, like, you can't really control it. It's just some shit that's in the back of your head. It's some shit that you just can't really shut off as a person. I really do feel like it's just something that you're more so born with, like, to different levels. And some of us are nerfed badly. Some of us are cursed. Some of us don't have that problem at all, which is why I think it's a birth thing. Because if it was just your circumstances that made you lack or gain more empathy, then nobody in the space would have it, because we've all been shit on by life. We've all been cast aside. We've all been exiled. We've all been shunned. Nobody gives a fuck about us. So nobody in this space would have any empathy whatsoever, but you'll see varying levels. You'll see some people who will laugh and like point, and I'm not even judging these people either. You'll see some people that'll laugh and point at others that end up in bad situations that might have been people that kind of look down on guys like us, you know, like a kind of a delusional normie that might get done dirty by a girl or whatever. And like they'll laugh at them and point at them and be like, hey man, that's the kind of shit we tried to tell you about. People that are just slightly better off than us that try to look down at us. Some people will laugh at that, but some people like me, it'll be like, hey, you should have seen it coming, but I don't really see that as a pleasant sight. It'll be the same thing with women. Like, they'll make a bad decision as far as a partner goes. They'll get
I gotta call my friend to send him to the Shadow Realm. Chris! Here comes the United States champion! Chris Benoit!
a boyfriend that'll just be a piece of shit, but they just went off of that base instinct attraction, while simultaneously trying to blame men who don't get women at all for these kind of issues, and then end up suffering at the hands of somebody that they deemed as worthy.
This chicken is cold! Bitch, this chicken is cold!
A lot of us will laugh. A lot of us will point and laugh and be like, hey, that's what you get. But again, that's just not me. I look at it and it's like, listen, I ain't no fucking Captain Save-A-Ho. But at the same time, I just kind of look at it and I'm like, just damn, what a waste, like, did you really have to do shit like that? Like, it's just not pleasant for me to see things like that. I don't enjoy that. It'll even be with some old girls that, I try to talk to or whatever. I'll see them in fucked up positions or fucked up situations. And yeah, I'm not going to let you use me or, do anything like that. But I'll make a decision which a lot of people would consider foolish. I'll let them rattle off their problems just in my fucking inbox, and I won't really be trying to sit up there the whole time and comfort or anything like that. But the fact that I'm even letting this person who has fucked me over in the past just sit here and rattle this shit off to me tells me that I just have a pretty bad nerf that I was born with. That empathy bullshit, man. I think we're just born with it to varying degrees, some very low, some very high. I kind of wish I had like just more of a medium degree to where if I could deem a person as unworthy, I could just cut that shit off. Because I can consciously deem a person as unworthy and still just like, again, not just completely open myself up like a dumbass or just completely act like nothing happened, but like I will be a lot more charitable than I should be in some of these situations. And I wish that I just had that instinct to just see a person that I know is just, again, not even worthy of that much and just cut that shit off. Or even go as far as to laugh at this motherfucker and be like, aha, look at you. Look at you in your fucked up situation. But I just can't do that. I just can't really bring myself to do that. I've never been that person. And not because I'm trying to paint myself as some fucking goody two shoes. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish I didn't have that weakness. I wish I could just be that person who could just point and laugh when somebody who gets what they honestly have coming, ends up suffering misfortune. But it's like, I guess just some part of me just wants to see, somebody who might make a bad decision or do some shit that they shouldn't have any business doing. Stop being a dumbass and learn from that. Learn from that fucking mistake. Learn from that shit and like actually grow and develop. I don't want to see somebody who I see any type of potential in just throw that shit to waste, just throw it to the wayside and continue to be a stupid motherfucker. But I've had to learn over time that sometimes all I can really do as a person like that is just grit my teeth and like just look the other way. Because that shit is never fun for me. It's never any fun and it's a fucking curse. But yeah, I guess that's all I had to say.
This is going to be a message to the 304s, to the women who've been ran through by no good ninjas, to the women who have a lot of demons, a lot of emotional baggage. If you're a female who's a 304, I want you to come comment on this presentation. This is a public service announcement to all the 304s. This is what I want to tell you ladies out there who are 304s. If you're a woman who's a 304, and your baby daddy not acting right, I'm in school for automotive, training to become an automotive technician. I'm willing to sign up to be a stepdaddy. I just want you to put that wet on me real good. I want you to make me shoot off like a firecracker on the 4th of July.
Y'all gotta stop overpaying these hoes, man. This shit is not worth it. This topic came to my mind because I was having a conversation with one of my subscribers by the name of SNK Osen 9798. Real cool dude. Shout out him. But we were talking on Discord, and I think the topic was something completely different, but eventually the topic of Betabuxxing came up, and I really think it's just some of the stupidest shit in the world, bro. Something else that kind of brought this topic to my mind as well is a YouTuber by the name of Savvy Guy, also known as Oreo Man in the past. He's honestly one of my favorite YouTubers. If you like what I make, then you probably already know about him, but on the off chance you don't, go check him out, man. He's really cool, funny as hell. But the reason that he popped into my mind is because a lot of times he'll say for guys that are less attractive like him, our only option is to really get our bread up and then, use that money to get what we want. Please. And while I agree on a base level, the way that he typically talks about it is just completely out of pocket, in my opinion. He said on multiple occasions, he's like, I'm gonna wife up a 304 with kids. And I'm like, huh? Are you sure about that? Like,
Are you sure about
is that actually the approach you want to take? I don't know about all that, bro. It's just not a good idea because, yeah, sure, you can buy a woman's tolerance, but you are never going to buy her genuine attraction. And if she's not attracted to you, She's gonna get around on you, bro. She's gonna cheat. She's gonna be getting with the pool boy, the gardener, whoever the hell else. If you have that kind of money, she is not going to stay loyal whatsoever if you actually accumulate that much savings. So wiping up these single moms and shit who don't like you and and can barely stand to look at you and are around for your money, that is just not a good way to do it, man. If you're going to pay to play, you got to get yourself a rotation. Get yourself some different flavors. Get yourself, you might like Asian girls or something like that. I don't know. Next time, get you a Latina, get you this and that. Like, mix it up. Get you a different girl that you're paying off or tricking off on or whatever. And that way, the only thing she's really entitled to is going to be whatever you paid for her services for whatever time she's over there. If you paid her to come over for the weekend or a week or how much ever time you paid her for, she's going to give you the best possible performance for the time that you paid for in that, individual space. And then she's not entitled to shit. You go wifing up a fucking single mom, like, dude, she's gonna take your shit after she cheats on you with the fucking gardener. Like, it doesn't make any sense, man. People will say money doesn't unlame you. That is a very true statement there. Like, money is not going to get you the same as actual primal physical attraction. It's never going to work to that degree. Never has, never will. She is going to get around on you and take your shit. So if you're going to pay, get a rotation. All right? Get a rotation, get a girl who is going to be entitled to whatever you're paying her for that individual instance that she's coming over for you. That is all you need to be doing. But it is sad though, like when we think about it, because this is the first option that we really think of realistically for guys like us, that we have to get rich and, you know, pay to play. We have gotten to the point where we're just so fucking, we're so past even the idea that we could ever have somebody genuinely just be interested in us or genuinely just want to spend time with us or be in a long-term relationship, because of how the world has been, because of how the world's treated us, because of how girls are around us, because of how we've been ghosted and led on in the past, type of looks you might get. And we are just so far past the point of ever thinking that somebody could be interested in us that the only debate that we can really have is how you're supposed to pay for a girl. Like, that is so fucked up, man. That is crazy just thinking about it. I wasn't even going to go over this point, but that just ran through my mind, man. Like, the game is just so fucked up to the point where you don't even consider the idea of even just potentially getting lucky and having a girl to be with. Like, we're like, do you marry using your wealth? Do you, buy an assortment of girls, which I think is the smarter idea? You know, I don't really think there's any type of moral implications there. If it's a grown woman, man, I don't understand the whole anti pay to play culture as far as the USA goes. Like, there's a grown woman, like George Carlin said.
Prostitution is illegal. Why should prostitution be illegal? Selling is legal. Fucking is legal. Why isn't selling fucking legal?
It doesn't make any sense to me, man. Like, a grown ass woman, she should be able to do what she wants to do. I've got something you want, you've got something I want. Let's do business. And it's just so contradictory as well, because we'll sell every other form. We will flood the internet and place stores around the country full of adult content. This whole OnlyFans shit as well, that is just blown up major. People are getting scammed and taken advantage of, and, paying $20 to some random chick in order for her to have her manager pretend to be her and talk while the other guy is beating off to it. Like, we will exploit sexuality in this country in every other way, but the most direct and honest way is banned. Make it make sense. And it's like, if you legalized it, you would effectively kill any black market. You could have reputable, established businesses with, free testing and health care for their workers. And, they'd have access to certain kinds of protection. So they wouldn't have to worry about what kind of client they're getting with. And yeah, it would just be easy. It's just the most honest solution. I don't understand why it's even illegal, or why the USA pretends like we're so above it when we exploit sexuality in every single other way. It's just so fucking dumb, man. Just so dumb. But yeah, that whole Betabuxx thing, man, that is just such a cope. Like, she is not going to actually like you because you pay her. She is going to stick around until she gets whatever she can get out of you and cheats under your nose and then leaves when she's had her fun. Leave the Betabuxx alone. Okay, let's legalize pay to play. And if you're in a country right now where that's not legal, if you got the money for it, go to another country and pay to play, man. Leave the Betabuxx alone, though. Leave that shit the fuck alone.
Some people don't have no purpose in life. I know as a man, I should have never been born. A lot of people should have never been born because they don't have no purpose for being on this planet called Earth. There are some people who were sperms that should have been busted in the toilet and flushed.
They always say that a man is supposed to remain strong. But I'm here to tell you, if I had a family and times got hard, I would just walk out on them. Fuck them. As a man, you gotta grow some balls. You gotta be tough. In life, you can't always be tough. Sometimes you just gotta bitch out, you gotta bitch out, sometimes in life, you just gotta tap out,
Don't tell me I'm fucking handsome, cause I already know if you saw me in real life, you would not give me no ass, and you would not date me. So shut the fuck up telling me that I'm fucking handsome. You think I'm ugly? You think I'm lame? You think I'm a bitch ass nigga? Stop fucking telling me that I'm fucking handsome. I'm tired of you black bitches telling me I'm fucking handsome. Give me some if you think I'm fucking handsome, bitch. Bounce that ass for a nigga if you think I'm fucking handsome, bitch. You think I'm fucking ugly. That's the problem. It's best to be honest with a person than to lie to them. Stop fucking lying to me! Telling me I look good. Stop it!
Cause I know it's not gonna get better. I know things will never look up for me. I'm a piece of shit motherfucker. I ain't nothing, and I never will be the shit. I never was shit, and I never will be the shit. And I'm so tired of people telling me that my love life is gonna get better. And oh, don't worry, you ain't no bad looking dude. You'll meet a girl. I ain't gonna meet nobody, cause I'm a fuck ass nigga. I'm a bitch, and I ain't shit. And I already know that I'll never find happiness in my life. And I'm tired of people telling me that I'm gonna meet that special woman.
I hate looking into the mirror because I know I'm going to see her face. Becoming like her is probably the greatest fear in my life, more than anything. This woman spent so much of her life making sure that I knew mine was a mistake, making sure that I knew I should have never been born, and just brutalizing me in every single way, physically, verbally, emotionally, tearing me down, pushing away all of the potential help that she had, whether it be one of my uncles, my aunts, her mother, anybody. She just made sure that I was going to be damned And she made sure that nobody was ever going to be able to help her. And sometimes when I think about it, I'll see a lot of her in me. And of course it makes sense to a degree. She birthed me. But the appearance is just really a reflection of a greater fear. It's fear of me picking up some of her characteristics. I think anger is probably the most obvious one. You know, she was putting hands on me and putting me down and doing all this other shit. Always very hard-headed because she was spoiled her whole life. And then I just start to see some of that anger in me, even if it's not as unreasonable. Even if I'm in a position to where I'm defending myself, or in a position to where, you know, my anger is justified, to where I'm not just snapping at someone or trying to abuse them. Sometimes I'll take it to a level that I really shouldn't. I'll take it to a level far beyond anything that I ever needed to. And once I get any time to reflect on that, I'll think about her. I'll think about what she did to me. I'll think about the kind of face I remember her making when she was putting me through hell. And I'll see that face over mine. She's been unemployed for the better part of 2 decades at this point. And even though the actual unemployment isn't something that's happening with me right now, a lot of how she would just rot the day away is not too far off from where I've been at. A lot of how she would just sit there and just kind of exist isn't too far off from where I am right now. Like when I get off of work, if I'm not doing anything specific, I will just immediately just exist. I'll just lay down and I will do nothing. I will stare at the ceiling. And another thing with her is that she is definitely schizophrenic, even though I don't think they diagnosed her with it. Very frequently talking with herself, voices. You know, she would damn near like talk for like other people almost. Like even my family talked about it. They would call them her friends whenever she started talking in like these other voices and accents almost. And even though nothing like that has happened to me either, if I am in my own zone, if I'm in my own space, if I'm kind of in that space where I'm just existing, a lot of things will just start playing out in my head. I'll just start thinking about all these scenarios and, you know, like daydreaming and thinking about all this other shit, man. And it scares me because it's like, I don't want to transform into that. I don't want to transform into her. That's fucking scary. I don't want to do that. And it's like I make efforts to actively try to avoid things of that nature and actively try to embody traits that she didn't have. But it's never really going to be enough to shake that fear. It's never going to be enough to shake the fear. Because I am her spawn. I am her flesh and blood. How could I not have that fear when I see her and then see me distributing, and then I see myself displaying traits similar to hers? So it's like, I'll try to make sure that I'm not using anybody. That's one of the main reasons why unlike a lot of other people that you'll see making channels like this, the longest I've been unemployed in my adulthood for is like 6 months. Not even because of any moral shit, but I don't want to go the crazy neat route because that's where she's been at. That's one of the main things that kept me scared, made me always want to keep some sort of employment, right? And again, I don't want to just, you know, take advantage of people that have been willing to help me. So I'll always try to help out my friends, sometimes to my detriment, like that one video I released. But damn, man, it's just always scary. Now, this is a more funny story. I remember I was staying with my uncle. This was me and my mother. We were staying with my uncle for an extended period of time. And I remember when we were leaving because they were going back and forth. She was doing all kinds of shit. Like, that's honestly, that could be its own video. I might just call my uncle and just have a conversation with him and then just, have him recount some of the stories for me and make a video out of it. That would be hilarious. But I remember he said his breaking point, even after all the bullshit that she had put him through, he said his breaking point to where he would never deal with her in a major capacity again was when we were leaving and we were packing up and he couldn't find his potatoes for some reason. And then he checked her bag. And then he always tells the story the exact same way. He says, I open my bag, I lift up a shirt, and then I just see it. Shirt, potato. Shirt, potato. Shirt, potato. And he just always tells the story the same way about how she smuggled this nigga's potatoes out of his house on the way out after he had put her up for 6 months. Fucking hilarious, man, because like the fact that he always sounds so traumatized when he says it too, man, like that shit cracks me up. But it's like, yeah, I don't want to be a shirt potato ass motherfucker, man. I don't want to abuse and use the people around me. I don't want to just take out my anger on anybody unjustly. I don't want to be, a burden on those I love. I don't want to be that. I never want to be that. So I just hate seeing her when I look in the mirror. It just scares the fuck out of me, man. But yeah, I guess that's all I had to say. Living in a low trust society is so ass. And this is a topic that came to my mind today because of some shit that happened at work to me. I was on the victim end of this today. Somebody stole my lunch out of the fucking refrigerator at work. Some fat, greasy fucker, man. It's not even like I had anything special. I just had some chicken and rice for my meal prep, which honestly even makes it even more infuriating. And what pisses me off more is that I use glass Tupperware to make my meal preps. I'm going to have to buy more containers because obviously the motherfucker stole the containers with the food. And I'm just like, why? Like just some regular ass chicken and rice. Like we're on a job site where everybody there is working. So you have a fucking job and it's just like, just going to straight up take my shit. So now not only do I have to buy new Tupperware, but on top of that, now I need a lunchbox with a fucking lock on it. What kind of fat ass shit is that, bro? I have to lock my fucking food away from you Augustus Gloop motherfuckers, man. And yeah, it pissed me off. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I almost tweaked out on a guy who pulled out the same brand of Tupperware as me. Like I stood up really quick and I just looked over and I'm like, oh shit, my fault, bro. I was mad as hell. That's kind of fat in and of itself. That's some big back shit right there. But hey, man, I was pissed off, bro. But the good thing is that even though there's not cameras in the break room, there are cameras in the surrounding area right outside of it. And I didn't see any of those containers in any type of trash or hidden anywhere else, nothing. So likely the dumb motherfucker actually took my container outside into camera view. So yeah, he's going to be caught promptly. And I'm going to make sure to bitch about it. But that just got me thinking about this on a broader societal level. We live in a very low trust society, and that is for good reason. I'm not saying that we need to start trusting motherfuckers. Hell, like you saw just today, I was on the receiving end of being too high trust and thinking that I could put my own food that I cooked into a refrigerator at my fucking job so I could eat and not be hungry for the rest of my shift. I trusted too high, so I'm not doubting why the society is low trust. But it just puts it into perspective how much everything sucks, man. Like, you look at a lot of these Asian countries, they'll have places that you can go to where you can like walk in and they'll have like self checkouts there where you can just straight walk into the store and it'll be like nobody there and you can just grab your stuff and check out and all kinds of things like that, man. Like, people are just generally trusted to be able to do what they need to do and are generally trusted to not fuck shit up and to not just make things harder for everybody else around them. There's a general expectation drilled into you at a young age that you're going to make sure you don't make problems for everybody else. And we just do not have that shit here in the West, man. A fucking trash everywhere. You go to the library, the books are all torn and ripped up and shit like that, especially like the manga. When I was a kid, it was like that, man. The manga would be all torn up. And this was back when it was harder to get your hands on manga, so it pissed me off even more. Because I remember I was thinking about it. Like, I look at videos about Japanese manga cafes, and they look so cool, man. Like, I would love to go spend a day. I would love to go spend just a full weekend at a manga cafe, man. Such a cool experience. They got your little internet there. They got some snacks. They got you, little cozy cave that you can go in. All the manga you can rent. Crazy, man. It looks so cool. And I'm like, damn, why don't we have manga cafes here? This is why we live in a low trust society, because we have low quality ass people who go around stealing people's fucking food and ripping people's books up, leaving trash everywhere, leaving piss all over the toilet seat in the bathroom. Like, we are just a low quality people, man. A low quality people that have no fucking sense, that have no regard for the next man, that have no regard for anybody that's going to have to take up after whatever they've done. Nobody gives a fuck. No one cares. If you don't have to worry about it in the present moment, it's just nobody's problem, or you don't care if it's somebody else's problem as long as it's not yours. And it's like, yeah, we're selfish by nature, but at the same time, we understand that because we're selfish and we want things done for us right, that if we do for others right, it's more likely that we'll also get the same thing, or else, well, I thought we understood that. I guess I thought we understood that we look out for other people the way we would want to be looked out for, because that makes it more convenient for everybody, right? Treat people how you want to be treated. You don't want to walk into a pissy toilet seat, so you make sure you lit the toilet seat up before you take a piss, right? Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about, again, just not stealing all this dumbass shit. That person did not need my fucking food at all. Like, what the fuck, bro? It just pisses me off to such a high degree, because not only am I suffering directly from this, but the entire society just suffers even more, because we can't have shit like I was talking about in stores in Asia, where you can just walk in and just grab what you need to grab, or be trusted to be in like a cool establishment like a fucking manga cafe and just grab the shit you want and rent it. And all the wear on the manga is just from the usage over the years. There's not any dumb shit like markings or rips or wet spots from people spilling drinks on it and being dumbasses. We can't be trusted with anything over here because we are just a low quality people. Just a low quality ass people, man. And we can't have shit nice. But yeah, this was a short one, but that's all I had to say, man. I am just so fucking pissed off with the people here in the West, man. You people need to grow the fuck up. This shit is fucking ridiculous.